So I know from many conversations that I've had within our community that we're really excited about an industry's partnership with Facebook. I'm completely bowled over, honored to have Facebook's head of music, business development and partnerships, Tamara Hrivnak, with us today. Tamara joined Facebook in 2017 to lead its music business development strategy. Previously, she was responsible for YouTube and Google Play's America's Music Partnerships. What's particularly good news for us is that Tamara came from the music business in the first place. She was at Warner Music Group and Warner Chappell. In a recent Variety interview, Tamara said, "The indie community is such an important part of our platform. We're believers in the power of independent voices to reach fans, and we're excited to work with independent labels and their artists to bring people closer together through music." Tamara is going to give about a 10-minute presentation to start, and then it's going to be followed by a Q&A with Amy Dietz. And so that I don't interrupt the flow of it all, I'm going to introduce Amy now. So I'm sure most of you know Amy. She's the Executive Vice President and GM at InGrooves. She's on our board. She oversees the day-to-day management of global operations at InGrooves, ensuring that the company's labels and artists have everything they need to successfully market, promote, and monetize. She serves, as I said, on our board, HIM board, and also the Music Business Association board. And last year, she was named a Billboard Indie Power Player and a Digital Power Player. So please welcome keynote speaker Tamara Hrivnak, ultimately in conversation with Amy Dietz.
Good morning. It's so great to be here with all of you to celebrate Indie Week and indie music. Thank you so much to Richard and to the A2IM board for inviting me to be here today. We can all think back to the moments that to us are indelible. For me, that's walking down the aisle at my wedding to Can't Help Falling in Love, and processing back out to Joe Cocker, Feeling All Right. And we all think back to the times that bring us together. Sometimes those are moments of pure victory, things like the World Cup, kids graduating from college, and sometimes those are moments of pure love, bringing a baby into the world, or having a friend there just when you need them. People are truly amazing, and their moments and memories are special. So where do you ask, do Facebook and music come in? To answer that question, we need to talk a little bit about Facebook and who we are as a company. Our mission is simple. It's to bring the world together and to give people the power to create community. That's a big, hefty mission, and it's one that I'm personally committed to. So how do we do that? We start by measuring success based on how well we do at forging connections and fostering bonds that mean something to people. We call those meaningful social interactions. More than eyeballs and clicks and watch time, meaningful social interactions are a brand new goal set, and one that I find particularly refreshing. So what's Facebook, and where do these meaningful social interactions come in? Facebook is a family of apps. We're Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, Oculus, and WhatsApp. And in every single one of our products, community building and bringing people together are at the core of what we do. So you might ask, how does a person focus on bringing people together, and is Facebook really different in that effort? And my answer to you is yes. We're different because in every single thing we do, community building is at the core. And I'll show you a few examples so you know what I mean. The first one of those is groups. Facebook is not just a place about connecting with the people who you've met offline. It's also about cultivating new relationships with people you share common passions and interests. There are over 1 billion people who are monthly active users of Facebook groups. Those are fans of artists like the Arctic Monkeys. Those are people who love the World Cup. They're moms in tech like me. People who do like dogs, people who don't like dogs, they like robots, they don't like robots. There's literally a group for absolutely everything. In addition, we're working hard to evolve the way that people share. Stories are 15 to 20 second videos or still images that you can personalize, you can share, and they last for up to 24 hours. The way stories impact the way we build community is that it gives bits and bytes into people's daily life. So now you understand your friend's perspective on how they see the world. It's no wonder that stories are on the rise across all of our products. We're also testing a new way to watch video with friends in groups. You can turn a watch experience into a group experience. At the same time and in the same place, you can watch videos together with your friends, comment on them, experience those moments together. And the best part of those watch parties are the people you're watching with and the conversation around content. To me, this reminds me of the best Super Bowl parties you have at a friend's house, of the binge-watching session of Game of Thrones in a friend's apartment. That magical community that builds around video is now possible every single day on Facebook Watch. Our original video is also based around community. You may have heard of our original show called Skam Austin. Skam is a show that was brought to us from Norway. It's a huge hit among teens. And what's special about it is that people follow the characters on Instagram. The episodes drop at the exact time that the characters are experiencing what's happening in the show. So at night when they're going to a party, in the morning when they're heading to a 10 a.m. class. On top of that, people have made music a big part of the Skam experience. In addition to music drawing people into the show, we created a Spotify playlist. As episodes drop for the show, the music in those episodes get added to the playlist automatically. So dynamically, people are experiencing community in how they watch the show and how they live the music in the show. And finally, this year, Oculus revealed its standalone headset for virtual reality, the Oculus Go. The Oculus Go is a way of bringing virtual reality to the masses, but we've also worked hard to bring the masses together in VR. Oculus has created venues. These are virtual reality spaces where people can watch live events as if they're in a stadium or a coliseum or a concert hall. So Vance Joy experimented with an Oculus venue earlier this year, and you can imagine the possibilities are endless. You can see the people around you in your virtual arena, you can talk to them, experience the show in the way you would in real life. So now the good part. You've figured out that Facebook is about community and bringing people together, and you've probably guessed where music comes in. For me, it's about getting soulful with Iron and Wine on a Sunday, or sitting with the Weepies on a Wednesday. There's no better place for me to share how I feel or express myself through music than on Facebook. So we're starting out by bringing music into the videos that people share on Facebook. We're testing that in multiple markets with more to come soon. We're also creating new ways for people to express themselves through music. And in the process, we're bringing friends, fans, and artists together. Another way that people can express themselves through music on Facebook is Lip Sync Live. It's a new feature that allows people to go live You pick a track you love, you can add a background, you can add a mask, and you have fun with it. While you're watching the live broadcast, people can see the artist name and the track title, and they can tap on that to follow the artist on Facebook. And get ready, folks, that's just the beginning. So I know you clever people in the music industry want to know what's next, so I didn't even cheat. I made sure we had a slide on that. And the next chapter for us is going to be about the values that I hold dear and share with a lot of other people at Facebook. As a Canadian, I care deeply about local music, the importance of diversity, mapping to the diverse tastes that people have around the globe. So we'll be working hard to bring music to people all over the world. As music lovers, we'll also be focused on the aspects of music that connect us to what's most deeply personal to people on Facebook, ties to moments in time, to feelings in the present, deep sadness, great joy. And we'll do that by celebrating artists, the visionaries who manage to map to a song all the feelings that are etched in our soul that we're not quite able to say as well as they can. As a granddaughter of immigrants who came to North America and had to build a life for themselves and reinvent themselves time and again, it's hard for me not to be a bit of a dreamer, an entrepreneur, and a maker. In this social media space, connecting music and realizing its potential with social media, that's a new frontier. And we'll be treating that opportunity, cultivating it, with the love and care that a pioneering effort deserves. We'll need to dream big together and be bold. We'll need to test a lot, bear with us, and we'll learn. And we'll need to harness the goodness in music and the goodness in Facebook that helps to bring the world together. Thank you for your support and for joining Facebook on its journey. It's because of the great support of the music industry that we've been able to start bringing moments and memories together with music. The collaboration that we've seen from the music industry has been outstanding and, in my view, unprecedented. This is just chapter 1. We're very excited to write the rest of the story together. Thank you.
Thank you for that lovely presentation. I know we're all excited to be having this conversation with you, and I know Richard expressed this as well, but we want to say thanks for taking the time and talking to this community in particular about the things that are coming. I know we're all excited about what's to come. So today we're going to just go into a little bit more detail about what you guys are thinking about with music and a little bit about you as well. So one of the questions I think a lot of people are asking is, why music now with Facebook?
You're right, this is a question I get asked literally all the time. And I think what people have noticed is that Facebook has had a long history, and there was a distinct pivot when Facebook became interested in music. And it's not a coincidence. Mark has been very open that he sees video as an important part of the future for Facebook, and building products that are really great at connecting people through video is important. So music, sports, film, TV, all of those things become more important in a world that's centered around video. And I think it's also worth thinking about the degree to which we live in divisive times. Because we live in divisive times, there's no better moment to bring people together with a bonding force like music than now. So we're excited to be in the music business and be in this conversation.
One of the things that you mentioned quite often was the concept of community. You mentioned it again, and how music brings community together. What does that mean for you personally, and why is that a mission for you?
It's funny. It would be simple if I could tell you I got to Facebook on day 1 and they told me the mission was community, and I said, okay, and we were off. But the reality is bringing people together has been an important part of who I am, right from the get-go. And I think there are a couple reasons for this. One story, maybe a little sad, but another that's kind of silly might help. My grandparents, and I showed my grandmother on the screen, when they came to Canada, they set up a life in Western Canada and British Columbia. And in the World War II, they were put into camps in Western Alberta. And what amazes me is that out of that experience, they took away the greatest and deepest sense of patriotism, a desire to vote, to be, very full participating Canadians, and frankly to see every single day with a glass, half full, and to build a life for themselves. But what I remember from that moment is the critical importance of coming together instead of separating ourselves apart. So that means a lot from a serious standpoint. And then I was always the kid, like the goofball, who thought that it was a good idea to write to the Prime Minister and tell him to stop acid rain and that kind of thing. And in those days, I was upset by the fact that some kids weren't invited on the playground to play tag and all the good stuff. And I decided I'm going to bring my pink boombox because it was the 80s. And I'm going to start my own club. And in my club, absolutely anybody can join. And every day we'll have, dances, which of course I will choreograph because I'm amazing.
Well, the costume was pretty amazing. In case you didn't catch,
right.
That was Tamara.
That's right. And so I did that. It was very, very innocent. But the reality was, even back then in a little playground, music was a bonding force among bullies. Music brought people together. And so I feel like my professional experience has just mirrored what I knew in my heart, which is that music was a bonding force and one that I wanted to stay close to.
What do you think is different about Facebook with music? What is going to be some of the differentiators? And one of the things that you mentioned was even the use of Spotify playlists. And so there's some cross-pollination there, and I think that that's an important piece.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because Facebook is profoundly different from other tech companies who are working with music, because we're not just a single music service. Instead, we're a set of features and experiences, today in its infancy, but which will grow over time, across an entire family of products. This is fundamentally different. Not one music service in a company that does many things. We're going to find the right marriage of music and our products across the whole. So that, I think, makes us very different. And the Spotify point that you mentioned, we're a platform. We welcome all comers. And so we work with Spotify, with Apple Music, and all comers to help them to do their thing. So your core business is important to us because Spotify and Apple Music are great partners of Facebook. And so part of what we do is we build experiences organically for people on Facebook. And part of what we do is make it easier for third parties like Spotify and Apple to do their thing as well.
Switching just a little bit, what do you think the lessons are to still be learned with tech and music and how to come together?
Well, I got into this business in the first place because I felt it was unfortunate that tech and music didn't speak the same language. And keeping in mind that I started when, Apple was at its very beginning and having a download store when, things like YouTube didn't exist yet. But the reality is that we needed translators and bridge builders, and that's why I do what I do. So one of the things I think we need to work on together is trust. And it's, I don't say that flippantly. There are good reasons for why there's lack of trust, but it's really a bi-directional opportunity and challenge to build a more trusting environment to create more together. And I think we can all work on that. I think another thing that is, remarkable is in this unique time where digital has outpaced physical decline, that success has been accomplished and by so many of you, and it's a wonderful thing. But many of our processes and systems together they still reflect a physical world, or at least the legacy of a physical world. So building, systems and processes, and in particular metadata, and I know that's the most boring topic, but it happens to be one of the most important, right? If we can identify people's music well, we can pay artists and writers well, we can make great services, and I think we have a lot of work to do together to be great at that. And if I had a last thought on things we can do better and learn from one another, I think it would be recognizing that in the age of the internet, services are automatically global. The entire audience of the world is yours, and this is an amazing opportunity for artists and writers. But what cramps that from coming to fruition is that it is just so hard to get around the world and obtain all the necessary rights. Only few companies can do it, and it's incredibly long as far as an effort. It's a complex thing to fix, but if we can somehow get better at making it easier for people to create great musical experiences, there'll be more and more opportunity for people.
Fantastic. I think that that's a challenge we talk about often. As you say, no one wants to spend their entire days talking about metadata, but it's a necessary piece of what we do, and I think that there's things that we all need to be looking towards to solve in that particular area.
I actually, like what you just said, it's like a not it topic where everyone's like, I'm pretty sure that's your problem, maybe you should fix it. And the reality is we all have to work together to improve the metadata around music. When I worked at Warner Music on the record side, people would come to us and talk about their new ideas and their new services and how hard it was going to be to get things up and running. And I just had this incredible faith that once I give you my rights, you were going to do amazing things with it and magically tell me all that I needed to know. But the reality is we too needed to participate in making it easier to have great transparency and information, and all of that flows back to artists and writers in the end.
I think that we both mentioned magical wands when we were talking about this previously, of like that we wish there was a wand that could make that all really easy, but it takes work on both sides.
That's right.
So switching gears a little bit, what has been kind of the most important things for you in your career? Kind of what advice and significant moments have kind of brought you to where you are that you think are worth sharing?
I feel extremely lucky because I got my real start in music at Warner, and the people at Warner were unbelievably good to me. And I think people matter. Of all of the things that you can think about and where to pick a gig and what to do, I think the people are at the very top of the list. Because without people at the helm like Dave Johnson and Paul Robinson, who taught me that being a good human not only could be consistent with doing great work in music, it was actually an imperative, I might not have seen the industry in quite the same way. So I think mentoring is critical. And the reality is that they pushed me along at every step in my career where I needed a good shove. And I can't remember if the timing lines up, it probably doesn't, but it was a lean-in moment before lean-in as a concept existed. I came back from my first maternity leave. I have 3 little girls. And I came back to Warner, and everything was frankly completely overwhelming. I wasn't really sure how to do the basics of just, feed a baby and show up for your job. And there was a new opportunity to lead digital at Warner Chappell. And my first reaction was, that sounds like a terrible idea because I can't get my basic life together. And the men in my life who cared about me at Warner pushed me to put my hand up and essentially said, no one else would be asking the question of can they do this job, as a mom and as a professional. Know that you're going to do 10x the job and figure the rest out later. And it frankly created this spark underneath me that's made me become the kind of person who runs to the fire in all of the decisions that I make. So mentoring, I think, really important. I think mentoring by men in a time where leadership still doesn't reflect all of the diversity of the people who make music and the people who listen to music, I think is critical. And frankly, just having the kind of people on your team who care about you as people and who care deeply about the business of music, those have been the difference makers for me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations in particular around how women can navigate when there's still not quite the diversity that we would be looking for in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's about finding women mentors but men mentors, and I think you really gave some great examples of how we all need to be part of the conversation in order to be pushing people forward. I think that that's a really great story of helping build confidence in anybody. And kind of to that, what kind of leadership qualities do you think are really important, within Facebook, but in general as well?
The thing that I found most striking about Facebook when I arrived is what I would call humanity. At Facebook, people talk about it as bringing your authentic self to work. I didn't really know what that meant. And what it turns out it means is allowing yourself to be a whole human, recognizing that you are fallible, because we don't make great products, we don't make great music unless we're willing to fail. When we fail, we got to pick ourselves up, fix our mistakes, do better. But there is something incredible about, humanity, and I think it's close cousin humility, that makes for great leaders, and I think it's a hallmark of the people who I get to spend time with at Facebook.
You kind of touched on this a little bit. This group in particular, I've been part of the independent world for a long time, and I think it's a very entrepreneurial, willing to take risks, interested in how to move things forward, and I think there's some unique kind of opportunities for that to be within the Facebook ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's right. So one of the other things I learned early on joining Facebook is that Facebook has a listening ear to what consumers want on the platform. And I had assumed that, like most tech companies, they would have a specific design on what they wanted to accomplish, not really pay attention to anything that anyone else wanted to say, and launch those things. And so it was very intriguing to me to hear that listening mattered. And my caution when we started our conversation with the music industry was, don't say it if you don't mean it, right? It's one thing to say you're a listener. It's a terrible thing to say it and not mean it. And
then interrupt.
That's right. Sorry. No, that's perfect. And it turns out we mean it. So we've done something very different with the music industry, and we've essentially said, music is new to us, not, artist interaction. Artists have been using Facebook and Instagram for all time, but bringing music to people on Facebook is new, and we want your help to do it well. We don't have all the answers, and instead, we want to build the future together with you, because if you think about, what Facebook sees as a future that is video-centric and how we connect and build communities, surely we want to participate in creating a world like that where music fits in perfectly instead of being bystanders to the way that future turns out. So we're very excited to invite the industry to give us feedback, input, and their ideas about how they want to reach people on the platform. And I think it's really unique. No one ever asked me in my Warner days what I wanted to do on other services. It was kind of like, hey, here's a bucket, put your rights into it. So it's a novel approach and something we're excited about.
Great. You serve on the Music Care Board. I know it's something that speaks to you and resonates for you. What draws you to that, and what makes that interesting for you and your work?
I don't know how many people here know about Music Cares, but Music Cares is a nonprofit organization that helps music people in need. So it's medical assistance, dental services, financial assistance in trying times. Music Cares has a specific focus on helping and treating substance abuse in the music community, and helping to prevent hearing loss. So two things that are really unique or uniquely acute in the music industry. And I think, as we all know, music is one of those businesses where it's hard to succeed, and it's hard to have what is a stable and long career. And so I see Music Cares as our opportunity to help to protect music people and the idea of making it safe to be a creator. So I'm excited about them. I think that we wouldn't have much of a music industry. We wouldn't get to talk about all the new fandangled things we're going to do in the digital space unless we have music makers. And Music Cares is specifically about helping the people who make music.
I think that ties back nicely into everything that we've talked about today, just around community and how, there's a lot of having to share and take care of each other in this along the way. And I think, really finally, is there anything else that you kind of want to add or share with this particular group as we kind of wrap it up?
Well, the related thing to talking about Music Cares and taking care of music makers is to think about how we're fostering a future in which people can be great music lovers and music fans. And I know for me, that involved a lot of piano recitals and, ballet, but, my parents were extraordinarily good about making music a part of my childhood. And there are a whole lot of kids today who don't get the opportunity to have a childhood that has music in it. And I think more work that we all do together to ensure that music is a part of basic education and schools means we're cultivating tomorrow's music fans and music lovers, and frankly doing it in the best possible time when it contributes to brain development, all kinds of good stuff, and then just the feelings that we all know about how we feel about music. So I would love to see us all banding together more to make music in basic schools and education a big part of our effort together.
Great.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. I know everyone's really excited about where this is going and the possibilities, and hopefully we'll all be able to work together to make it great.
We're excited too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Thank you, Amy. That was absolutely amazing. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you again. So we have a short break now, and then I think we go into the brand storytelling panel. And thank you all for being here. We've got lots of good things going on outside. Please use these breaks